Well, hello out there, folks. Your friendly neighborhood hatchet man, Brother Craig here. Welcome to the program, The Really Real Deal. We're sharing a little bit today with you about Israel. Many of you have been seeing in the news uh, the, um, the conflict over there between Israel and their Muslim neighbors. Again, this time the Gazans, and they've lobbed 4,000 missiles into Israel. I think they call this one Operation Guardian of the Walls. And I want to share with you a little bit. And by the way, there is a rally today for those of you who are viewers and who live in my hometown of Richmond, Virginia, my alma mater, VCU. They now I don't think VCU is hosting this. Okay, I don't want to give my alma mater any undue credit. Okay, it's being held at Monroe Park. Okay, and now I don't know that the university has not given their blessing, but I don't want to imply that they have given their blessing. Okay, they're pretty neoliberal over there, and but it seems that always these attacks go against Israel, and then Israel just defends herself and then gets painted as the bad guy. Kind of like here in the United States of America. Okay, the only it's only the powerful that it's you're free to attack, to malign, and if you happen to be white and male and Christian and old and have a little money, I mean, God bless you, because you check all the boxes that it's a and straight. You have a spouse of the opposite sex. Okay, so you check all the boxes of it's just free to throw hate your way. Okay, and so this is just totally unfounded. It's totally evil. It's totally wicked. And the Word of God says, "Woe to those that bring truth for falsehood and falsehood for truth." And we see this time and time again. Now, a few Bible verses here. This goes all the way back to Abraham. God promises Abraham, says, "I will make a great nation out of thee. I will bless thee. I will make thy name great, and thou shall be a blessing." So he's going to be a blessing to the world, and and the Lord says, "I will bless them that bless thee, and I will curse him that curseth thee, and in thee all families of the earth will be blessed." Okay, and so. And think about this now. Abraham was 75 years old when he heard that, and for the first time he left the home of his father. Okay, 75. Okay, 75. Okay, and he left and did this great thing. So, and it's all, I'm gonna be kind of quick today. It's all throughout the Bible in the book of Zechariah. Okay, for thus saith the Lord of hosts, after the glory hath sent me unto the nations which spoiled you, for he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye. Okay, this is what God thinks of Israel. Okay, and and we can go on. We can go into the book of Psalms. Okay, keep me as the apple of thy eye, hide me under the shadow of thy wings, from the wicked that oppress me, from my deadly enemies who compass me about. Okay, and so and just read the whole thing. That's the 17th chapter of the Psalms. You have 105, toucheth not my anointed ones. Okay, you have First Chronicles. Okay, let's see here. First Chronicles chapter 16, again, the key verse there saying, "Touch not mine anointed," okay, "and do my prophets no harm," okay. But lest ye think that he's just saying, okay, just prophets in general, you read the whole chapter, and it's talking about, O ye seed of Israel, and his servant, ye children of Jacob, his chosen ones. Okay, and then it goes on. Talks about the covenant with Abraham, the oath to Isaac. Okay, and then he gets up here to this warning, really, this warning. Okay, and so the American nation has been a friend to Israel. We have been a blessing to Israel. Okay, and so as a result, the Lord has blessed us. Okay, and really, the founders of this nation wanted to model this after a modern Israel, a modern shining city on a hill. Okay, a nation consecrated to do the work and the will of God. And of course, you're going to always have naysayers who will say, "Oh no, the United States was created on evil and sin," and they'll nitpick everything, and yet, okay, the naysayers can say all they want, but when human beings around, there are 8 billion people on this planet, and when people around the world vote with their feet, okay, if they're in any place on the planet, and if they're not a member of the ruling elite, or at a minimum a member of a stable middle class where they're doing well and they're happy with their life, you go to any place on the planet and people are unhappy, they're unwell, they're part of the downtrodden, and you approach them and you say, "Hey, I'll buy you and your family an airline ticket to any place that you think is a better place for you to be. Where would you like to go?" More people would say the United States of America than every other country combined. And every other country combined is not even close. Okay? It's not even close. All right? The only reason people immigrate to some of these other countries is they're closer and easier to get to. But if they had their choice, if someone was going to buy them an airline ticket, they wouldn't go there, they'd come here. Okay? And so don't listen to the naysayers. And also, I want to share with you too, if you read the description of today's program, I want to share with you some places where you can go, because I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the wars and some of the issues with Israel and the neighbors over there, Arabs, Muslims. To put my program together, I had to go into the Google search engine, and I have to go page after page, and there are 10 entries per page. Okay, but I have to go page after page after page to get some unbiased news, because everything is the New York Times, it's CNN, it's NBC, and I don't even bother to read those. They already are painting the people that start the war as the good guys and the people that are defending themselves as the bad guys. Okay, it's the same thing they do in the United States of America. The most recent case where a black man was killed was in North Carolina, and there's video evidence that this man used his vehicle on 3 separate times. He put it in drive, in reverse, in drive, in reverse. 3 separate times he hit 2 police officers with his vehicle. The 3rd police officer shot him dead. And this is caught on video. And still they say this was a police assassination. Still they say, okay? Oh, 3 white officers, and they just after the innocent little black man. I guess he was just, going home after working 3 jobs to study for his PhD. It's just, you can't make this stuff up, folks. Okay? And so if you want to do your own research, I would recommend the Epoch Times, EPOCH, the Epoch Times, the Gatestone Institute, and the Jewish Virtual Library. Okay? And there was one occasion when I actually put in the search bar the Gatestone Institute / Jewish Arab War 2021, thinking, okay, that'll pull it down. I'll go direct. I won't go through their search engine and have them recommend something to me. I will ask it to give me what I want, even then, they put a New York Times article above what I asked for. Okay? They put the New York Times article there, something about the children of God, the children of Gaza are living in hell. Well, their parents should not lob 4,000 rockets into Israel. Maybe they won't live in hell. Okay? That's not Israel's fault. But Google did not give me what I asked for. Okay? And so just be aware of these things. Okay? And so we're going to go a little bit now. Word of God is powerful, and it's packed full of, it's packed full of information. Okay. And you're going to have to forgive me, because I think one of the Bible verses that, let me just try to pull it up here. Okay. The measuring line, just hold tight here. Yeah. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that is Zechariah. Okay. And so now, okay. I lifted up, actually, I did have that chapter up already. I lifted up mine eyes again and looked, and behold, a man with a measuring line in his hand. And I said, whither goest thou? And he said unto me, to measure Jerusalem, to see what is the breadth thereof, and what is the length thereof. And behold, the angel that talked with me went forth, and another angel went out to meet him. Two angels, okay? And said unto him, run, speak to this young man, saying, okay, Jerusalem. Now remember, now Jerusalem had been devastated. Okay. Now the Romans drove the Jews out. The Byzantines took over after the Romans. Then the Arab Muslims. Then the Crusaders came in and drove them out. Then the Muslim Arabs came in again. Then the Ottoman Turks, other Muslims, not Arabs, but Muslims, the Ottoman Turks. Okay. And that was right up to, one of the, Jubilee years, 1867. It was, the old city of Jerusalem was discovered in 1867. Okay. The original old city of Jerusalem was discovered in 1867. All right. And so this was the beginning of the revealing of what this Bible verse I'm going to read you here. Okay. And so, all right. So this is what the angel was told to say. Speak to the young man, saying, Jerusalem shall be inhabited as towns without walls, for the multitude of men and cattle therein. For I, saith the Lord, will be unto her a wall of fire round about, and will be the glory in the midst of her. Come forth, flee. Listen to this. Come forth. Okay. So God is saying what he's going to do, how he's going to restore Israel. And then he's speaking to the people that have been dispersed. Okay. He's saying, come forth, flee from the land of the north. Okay. Germany, Russia, okay, that's the north, okay, round about, and will be in the glory in the midst of her. For I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heaven, okay, and in that spreading, the Jewish influence was spread also, okay, just like in the New Testament Christian era, Rome built roads everywhere, and so Christianity went everywhere. Okay, so these things that on the one hand they're negative. Okay, the temple gets destroyed and the people get dispersed, but in that dispersal, it's like little seeds being sown. Okay, and so because you some things you just cannot destroy. Okay, you can You can crush, you can disperse, but you cannot destroy, okay? Because they regerminate and they regrow, and then uh, God's truth spreads, okay? And so, um, okay, so I'm going to stop right there. All right. Well, no, let me give you two more verses. That brings me up to the apple of his eye. Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon. Okay. So Zion is dwelling with the daughter of Babylon. You see, the daughter of Babylon, Babylon represents power. Okay. And so you're dwelling with them. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. Okay, so, God's people were mistreated in all these different nations where they went. So, and he says, for he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye. For behold, I will shake my hand upon them, and they shall be a spoil to their servants, and ye shall know that the Lord of hosts hath sent me. Okay, and so the role is going to reverse. Okay, the ones that were the oppressor, they're going to become the spoil to who? To the servants. Okay, and so we see now this unveiling began in 1867. All right, and so you had two different, and you can get a lot of this from another place I neglected to share with you, where you can get a lot of this information. Rabbi Jonathan Cahn, okay, just a brilliant man. I've been so blessed and honored to interview him on two separate occasions, and truly, truly anointed, okay? And I tried to call him brilliant in an interview. He said, oh, he won't have it. He says, no, I'm not brilliant. Just the Lord just, he just gives God all of the credit, as do I. It's just fascinating. I find all this stuff fascinating. So now, 1867, you have Mark Twain in the fall of that year going to Jerusalem, and he just, he can't see what all of the hubbub is about, because it's so desolate. Okay, it's like there is nothing there. Okay, but earlier that year, for the first time, the ancient old original city had been rediscovered. Okay, and so you have this beginning. Now go fast forward 50 years from 1867. And the Jubilee is every 50 years. Okay, so 1917, you have the Balfour Declaration. So now, what did this here say in Zechariah? Come forth and flee from the land of the north. Okay, and so the Balfour Declaration was a call. It went out. There was a Jewish homeland being created in the original Israel. Now, some people like to say, oh, Palestine. Okay, there's no such thing as Palestine. And so it's just a name that the Romans put on a province as a way to just jab a stick in the eye of Israel, calling it the land. Palestine is like land of the Philistines, a historic enemy. If you'll remember, David slew Goliath, the Philistine. Okay, and so you read the Old Testament, there's always battles with the Philistines. Okay, and so these were a seagoing people. They came on boats. They were not a part of that area. Unlike Israel, they have the actual deed. The Jews have a deed to Jerusalem. Okay, they're the only ones that have legal right claim to it, and they actually have a legal claim to much more than the little teeny slither of modern Israel that they currently occupy. Much more. Okay, and so they're always called the aggressor. And if you look at a map, you see that all of the Arab areas is like half of North Africa. Well, maybe not half, but I would say a third, maybe close to a half of North Africa. I would say of North Africa, over half of North Africa, and going on up into Asia, and even in some parts of Europe. Okay, all of that is Muslim lands. It's like you take a a white tablecloth and you put a quarter on the tablecloth, and the quarter that would represent Israel. Okay. And yet they want to say, oh, Israel is occupying Arab lands. Okay. And before, or Muslim lands. Okay. And before there was anything called Islam, you had Jews occupying, it's written right in the word of God. Okay. So it's all nonsense. But anyway, so the Jews that did heed that call when the Balfour Declaration was made in 1917, and very few came, okay, very few came, okay, because most were doing well in the places where they had been dispersed to. They were doing well. But those that came were able to avoid the atrocities of the 1930s and 40s in Hitler's Germany. Okay, in other places where this harsh persecution occurred. Okay, they were able to avoid that. Okay, but most did not avoid it because most did not want to give up the comfortable lives they had created for themselves to go and basically start over again. Okay, and so, but the nation of Israel did get reestablished. Okay, 1948, and you had war after war after war. And let me just give you a few of these. And again, we're not going to go. Well, they have them listed here in reverse order. So the most recent one is Operation Guardian of the Wall. Now I'm going to go to the bottom here. All right. So War of Independence, 1948. Okay. Suez Sinai Campaign, 1956. Okay. 6-Day War, 1967. Now from 56 to 67, that's 11 years. That's the longest period of time modern Israel has gone without a war. 11 years. Okay. So from 1967, the 6-Day War, up until today, they have not gone a decade without a war. Okay. And quite often it's been more than one in a decade. Okay. And so, and again, 1967, 100 years, a 6-Day War, they got to, expand, a little bit, and, and they conquered, the Golan Heights and, some other areas, where they used as, launching pads to attack Israel. Israel was able to capture those areas. And so the little teeny slither of Israel got a little bit bigger. It's still tiny, but it got a little bit bigger. And again, 1967 is a Jubilee year. Okay, so you go 1867, the beginning of the revealing. 1917, 50 years later, the Balfour Declaration, the call to come home. And then 50 years forward, 1967, the 6-Day War. Okay, and so you have that, and then you get to 2017, and you had Donald Trump declared for the first time in 2,000 years that Jerusalem was the capital of Israel. So you have the world's dominant power. Okay, so 2,000 years ago, the world's dominant power recognized Israel as the home of the legitimate home and capital of Jews. And so that happened again. And it was Donald J. Trump that did that, and he is allegedly the anti-Semitic racist. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up, folks. The things that they call decent people who are doing the Lord's work, it's horrific. It's really horrific. Okay. But let me get back on track here. So another war for the next 3 years, they called it the War of Attrition, 67 to 70. 72, Operation Isotope. Okay. There was a raid on a hijacked airliner. Operation Spring of Youth, IDF raid on the PLO in Beirut. That was 73. Again in 73. I mean, it's just the Yom Kippur War. Never a break. Okay, the Entebbe rescue in 19, many of you maybe have seen the movie about the raid on Entebbe. Okay. 1981, the raid on the Iraqi nuclear reactor. Okay. So, these are people that are saying we're going to drive Israel into the sea. We're going to turn Israel into a smoldering cinder. We're going to drive every Jew into the ocean. And they teach this in the schools. So the children, they learn this growing up. And so the people that are fighting now, okay, 20 years ago, they were children in school being taught to hate these people. All right. And so there's never, ever a break, never a break. So 81, they had to destroy a nuclear facility. Okay. First Lebanon War, 82 to 85. First Intifada, 87 to 93. Operation Defensive Shield, 2002. I mean, we go on 2000 to 2005. Palestinian War, Alaska, the Second Intifada. Second Lebanon War, 2006. Okay. Operation Cast Lead, 08 and 09. Operation Pillar of Defense, 2012. Operation Protective Edge, 2014. And now 2021, Operation Guardian of the Wall. And again, it's 4,000 missiles have been lobbed into Israel. 4,000. 4,000. Okay. And see, and the thing about Israel, let me read a little bit here. They have, and this is from the Jewish Virtual Library. I highly encourage you who like to do your own research. Okay. This is, the code of ethics for the Israeli Defense Forces. Okay. Fundamental values: defense of the state, its citizen, and its residents; patriotism and loyalty to the state; human dignity, human life; purity of arms; personal example; responsibility. Basically they're saying that life is precious and you're not allowed to use excess force, even though you have someone, they hate you. That from the time they were a little child, they were taught that you were evolved from a combination of cats, rats, dogs, apes, and pigs, and you're not human. They teach them this. And yet and still, you're told you're only allowed to use enough force to subdue that person. I mean, many of you don't know that quite often that the Jewish hospitals in Israel, they perform surgeries on a lot of these Palestinians and their children when they have like a rare surgery. The enemy that wants to kill you, hey, will you do this operation on my daughter? They'll do the operation and then send the child home. And that doesn't make the news. That doesn't make the news. Okay. But, they have weapons caches are held in schools and hospitals so that if they have to destroy the weapon cache, there'll be civilian casualties so they can go to the news media and they can say, oh, well, look at what the Jews did. They're killing our children. And the reality is that Israel stands in front of children. The Palestinians and the Muslims, they stand behind children. All right. And they use children as human shields. And so this is just, so I'm being long-winded here and I need to, tone it down a little bit and say that I would just like to cordially invite any of you that are viewing this in the local Richmond area, come out to VCU's Monroe Park, 2:00 today. There will be a rally in support of Israel. Okay. So it's just, it's a lot of really, really ugly things that are done, not just by the Palestinians, the so-called Palestinians. There's really no such thing as a Palestinian. Okay. It's just, it's a made up, it's a made up name in order to usurp some land that was not theirs. Okay. And so, Israel has this little slither of land. They are in the Israeli military. Uh, Ever since the reestablishment of Israel in 1948, men and women can serve side by side. Okay, they don't care about your sexual orientation. You can be homosexual. You can be straight. It does. You just do your job. Okay. Arabs, Muslims, Druze, whomever, Jewish, Christian, it doesn't matter. You can serve, and they treat people fairly. And so it's as there's actually an Arab on the Supreme Court of Israel. I mean, think about that. Think about that. And they're fighting against people that teach their children that the Jews are lower than animals and that they're unworthy of life. And yet and still in Israel, they're taught that all human life is sacred and you only take life as a last resort. Okay. And so it's like night and day. It's like night and day. All right. And so anyway, this is really, really interesting. It's too much stuff here for me to go through it and read it. So I would ask you to do that yourself. Okay. And so I think we're just going to close the program out today and just ask that the Lord would bless you and keep you, that the Lord would make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you, and that the Lord would lift his countenance up upon you and give you peace. And I ask you to share this program around and, pray for Israel. And remember that the Lord made a promise, okay? He made a promise. He said, I will bless those that bless you, and I will curse those that curse you. And in you will all families of the earth be blessed. Okay. And I would encourage you to live your life in such a way. I try real hard to do this. I try to live my life in such a way that anyone that blesses me, God would bless that person. And anyone that comes against me, God would come against that person. And so I encourage you to live your life that way. Okay. So God bless you. Hopefully I will see a few of you out there at Monroe Park today. And we're going to see you anyway next week right here. Same Hatchet time, same Hatchet station. God bless you folks.